If you've ever walked through Bridgwater and thought, wow, that's a very big tower, congratulations, you've spotted St Mary's Church. Built a little bit before Uncle Norman's conquest, back in 1066. Its first vicar was recorded in 1170. It's older than most countries, and it's a place of worship, a piece of art, and possibly the best seagull vantage point in Bridgwater. This is the story of a church that has survived wars, weather and centuries of questionable singing and still manages to look dramatic on a cloudy day. Bridgwater. You've probably driven through it. Most people only know Bridgwater as that place you pass through on the way to somewhere betterer. But stop and see for yourself, and you'll find a town bursting with hidden gems. Architecture, rebellion, naval legends, even a carnival that could wake the dead. It's a town of firsts and lasts and things we're still not sure ever existed, like the historic treacle mines at Dumble. Welcome to Bridgwater, but don't tell too many people about it, because the roads are busy enough already. St Mary's Church is old, and we don't mean just pre-Wi-Fi old. We mean pre-Norman conquest old. There's archaeological evidence that a Saxon church existed on this site long before this present one was even built. And if you know anything about Saxons, you'll know their buildings were designed to survive raids and the occasional Viking with a grudge. The structure we see today dates mainly from the 14th century, with its towering spire completed around 1448. That's nearly 600 years ago. Which means it was finished before Henry VIII even started divorcing people. And back in the time when Bridgwater had more monks than pubs. Well, just. Built in classic perpendicular Gothic style, which sounds like a health condition but is actually a form of architecture, the church is a triumph of point arches, ribbed vaults and big stained glass windows that make you feel judged just for walking past in trainers. And that tower is 174 feet tall. It's been many things: a beacon, a bell tower, and a very effective landmark for anyone trying to find Greggs, or in the Duke of Monmouth's case, watching King James's forces assemble before the Battle of Sedgemoor. For a church this old, it's seen a lot. Weddings, funerals, lightning strikes, probably even a few arguments over the heating. But one of its most famous connections is to Admiral Robert Blake, Bridgwater's seafaring son and hero of another episode. Blake was baptised here in 1598. He probably sat through sermons here as a child, possibly thinking about boats instead of Bible verses, and while he later fought for a more puritanical version of Christianity, he still had ties to the place where he started. And it's worth saying, for a small Somerset town, having your own church-connected admiral is pretty good. Most towns only have a co-op, or maybe somebody who once appeared on something like Britain's Got Talent, or maybe Bargain Hunt. It's tempting to think of churches as just buildings, big, quiet ones with a draught and that specific smell of dust, damp hymn books and old carpets. But St Mary's has always been more than that. It's been at the heart of Bridgwater's community for centuries. During times of plague, war, famine, and probably some very questionable fashion eras, this church has been a place of gathering, grief, and the occasional dramatic organ solo. It's where people have come to be married, mourned, and mildly bored depending on the sermon length. In more recent years it's adapted: modern services, community events, possibly the odd cake sale. And while it no longer dictates the rhythm of the town the way it once did, it still commands respect. Mainly because anything that survived 700 years of English weather and seagull poo does deserve some form of applause, doesn't it? And not forget the bells. The church has 8 of them, and they don't just let you know the time. They also make sure everyone knows when someone's getting married, or when it's Sunday, or when someone in the bell tower just really likes noise. A church this old doesn't survive without a bit of help. Over the centuries, St Mary's has had its share of repairs, restorations and don't touch that or it'll collapse moments. The Victorians had a go, because Victorians always do, and more recently local groups have worked hard to preserve the building's structural integrity, which is polite code for we had to stop it falling over. In 2016, a major restoration project saw work on the stonework, roof and internal areas, supported by the Heritage Lottery Fund and local fundraising efforts. Because if there's one thing Bridgwater knows how to do, aside from rebellion, carnival and firing fireworks from sticks, it's keep a landmark upright. And with every repair, the church becomes less a relic and more a living part of the town, a place that still rings out, still opens its doors, and still reminds everyone that history isn't just something in books. Sometimes it's made of stone and still standing.
St Mary's is easy to take for granted, as if it's just another church, as if it's just always been there.
Quietly towering over Bridgwater like a Gothic giraffe made of stone, but look closer and you'll see a masterpiece of craftsmanship, a monument to survival, and a witness to centuries of human drama, from baptisms to battles, from admiralty to afternoon prayers. It's not flashy, it doesn't try to be. But it's strong, strange, and spectacular in a way only very old things that aren't broken can be. So next time you're in town, look up. That tower has seen more than most of us ever will. And it's still here, pointing to the sky, listening to the bells, and judging you just a little for what you're wearing. And if you liked this video, give it a like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more tales from the most quietly radical town in Somerset, right here at Sedgemoor FM.